Go. So, hang on. I knew there was something, Neil. Bit of a bad start. Anyway, let's go. Hey everyone, welcome in. Really glad you're here. This is Google Business Profile Audit to Action. This live stream series is where I actually sit down with real business owners and we look at actually what happened after they've had a Google Business Profile audit. It's not theory or any, sort of hot tips as such, but we're basically talking about what changed, what worked, and what they did differently. Straight from the people who've actually been through this process. If you're actually watching live, we'd love to hear from you. So if you want to drop a comment and join the conversation, please do so. I'm Ben Bradley from Cosmic Carrot, and today I'm joined by Neil Betts from Go True North. So I'm just going to hand over to Neil, and he's going to tell us about himself and his business. Welcome, Neil.
Good afternoon, Ben. How are you?
I'm very well, thank
So
you,
I,
Neil. And
uh,
yourself?
yeah, fine. So I'm Neil Betts. I am the founder of the company called Go True North, actually in Australia, and Go True North over here in the UK. And effectively, we help young entrepreneurs, aspiring founders with a spark of an idea, take that spark of an idea to the first customer through our 12-week online course called Vision to Venture. That's what we do, Ben.
Sounds fantastic, Neil. We know a little bit about it, but I thoroughly recommend people to check it out. Obviously, we'll add all your details, Neil, after today's event. If people haven't already checked you out, but definitely want to sort of find out more about what Neil's doing, especially in the local area of Cannock Chase. So anyway, Neil, it's great to have you here, and I'm really looking forward to going through this process with you today and just seeing what sort of
It's good to be on the shoes on the other foot. I'm being interviewed by you.
yes, exactly. So let's start at the beginning, Neil. So before the audit, which was it? I think we were just briefly chatting before we went live. So did you say it was September 24?
Yeah, it was. So I set the
Wow,
business up February 24. Joined the business chamber where I met you a few months after, and it was, our
that's right.
conversation at the business chamber, which led to the audit in September.
That's it. Yeah, and
Well, I was a total, in many ways, the business was a total newbie in the UK. I got an Australian presence, but got nothing here in the UK.
that's right. Yeah. So when we first originally looked, there was still sort of like this Australian sort of representation on Google, really, rather than locally based now in the UK. So that's right. I remember that. So before the audit, what was your Google business profile actually like? Was it something you had actually set up at some
So I'd
point,
kind
or
of, yeah, I was confused, I think is the word, Ben.
uh,
I'd got the Australian profile, and at first I was going, well, do I just tweak the Australian profile? But then I thought, no, that's got to stay there for my business partner because it was local to him. So I just stood
okay,
one up really quickly because at the time, um, I was still formulating the ideas of where I was going to take the business because
okay,
I'd come back to the UK. I've been known over in Australia for my startup and my work in supporting business growth and lean process improvement, which was the core of the
wow,
business. So I came over here and I thought, well, I've got those two skill sets. Where am I going to take the business? I'd got to support my partner over there, Chris, for a couple of years. So I decided in the end to just keep both streams going and just put them both out there and see, you know, where they landed in the UK. I was new to the UK. When I left the UK 17 years previously, I was a maintenance manager of a power station, and I've come back as a 13-year-old business, 13 years in business over in
wow,
Australia, of a six-figure business over there. So I was unsure where the business was going. So I just literally threw a profile together, go to North UK. That's where I am. Bang, this is who I am. Not sure about the services I offer. I don't really think that's too important. Don't really care about location. I'll just put UK and just threw it all
okay.
together very, very roughly.
So that's brilliant. So what did you understand what the Google Business Profile could actually do at that point? Or you just saying it was very much a case of there was,
I
just
think
add a
that,
couple of details and we'll figure something out later, or not really
yeah, I
see the
think
power of it. Yeah.
I think there's two components. There were some aspects of it that I really understood that worked well, and that was like I knew that Google reviews are really important, so I knew the review
Mm.
side of it, and I'd embedded that into an automation in my process. So anyone who has an interaction with me will eventually get a Google review request automated through a CRM.
Ah,
So I
okay.
knew the importance of that, but there was a lot that I didn't know that the audit flagged. That I went, aha! I suddenly had a whole heap of aha moments through the audit, and primarily they were about how you can update the Google review, not just about the static stuff about your business, but about what the hell's going on, and almost like a social media channel and feed it.
Yeah.
And that's the bit that I had this sudden, oh my God, I never knew you could do that. So the review side I knew the bit about, you've got to have a good profile to get you seen. I didn't know what good looked like. What does good look like, Ben? When I
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
to startups, what does good look like for them? Everyone
Yeah,
can define good differently.
there isn't, that is the one sort of downfall really from the Google Business Profile. It doesn't sort of say this is what a sort of, a high profile optimized view should look like. Um, it's something they don't do directly themselves. Obviously, there's plenty of other representations out there, but do you remember, like, so like back to 24, were you actually getting any inquiries or calls through your Google Business
Nothing.
Profile? Nothing at all.
So
Com-
so there
Completely
was
off radar.
at the same time I was putting a new website together, which was done, but from the Google side of things, then there was not. I don't believe there was any inquiries coming through on the UK profile, and that's
Uh,
probably because when you did the audit with me, I realised that it actually was not at all optimized. I hadn't optimized it for the service and got specific about the service. I hadn't optimized it around the location. Why on earth did I not put the location on? Because, like today, I know that there's probably about 40 or 50 odd percent of the traffic is coming from Google Maps, and that's picked up from the location. So
that's a
half my
huge
traffic,
amount.
yeah, half my traffic is coming from Google Maps through the profile, and half of it's coming from Google Search. So I didn't. The click about location was another
Mm.
aha moment I had. Reading the audit, and the aha moment was I should have bloody known better about this. I should have known about this. I should have known about this. It was that whole piece around you don't know until you don't know, do you?
Absolutely. Do, apart from me, well, do you actually remember why you sort of wanted to get the audit done? I mean, obviously, I asked if you would like one, but obviously you didn't have to accept. Was it something you thought? I think you've
Okay, so
highlighted
I'll be
the
really
bit.
honest here.
Oh, go on then. Be honest. Here we go. Not too honest.
Firstly, you actually convinced me that you know what you're doing, right? So we had a
Oh,
conversation and we
okay.
and we talked about, and
Mm,
I am actually quite IT savvy, and generally I'm pretty switched on. I just had got so much going on at the time. It was like you're a new business and you got all these moving parts, and this was just one small thing that I didn't realise the importance of. So you were pretty savvy, and I sort of started talking to you, thinking, oh shit, yeah, I better sort that out. That's something that's not very good.
mm,
So, but then I thought, well, do I go and make it good and then have the audit, or do I just have the audit? So I did actually go and tidy a few things up prior to the audit. And then the other thing, the fact that you came in and did that and gave me a report and spent some time afterwards telling me what to do, and the
mm.
fact that I've got the skills to do it left me in a position where I was able to go and make the changes and get the result I've got today. So,
Ah,
you were able to take me exactly what it says there, audit to action. And I was able to do that action and make the improvement. And I'm all about small incremental changes, me. That's what I teach. And it is those small things that make a difference.
absolutely, Neil. So when we actually did the audit, Neil, and we went through those audit findings, what surprised you the most about your own profile? Is it the gaps, I
Um,
guess? I think from what you said earlier.
Yeah, the biggest gap was the fact I missed the location off.
Oh yes, yeah, that's right.
And the fact that, tying together the fact that the Google profile actually is the thing that drives Google Maps and connecting that together in my mind. And unless there's a location there, how on earth is anyone going to find you locally? So, and I think the importance of that local piece, I'm a brand new
Mm,
business. I'm here in Cannock. I've got to go and find my audience and talk to my audience. And whilst I can deliver services all the way across ultimately the world, because
mm,
what I do is in the digital world, what I wanted to do, part of my strategy year one in business was to A, understand the business environment in the UK, and B, start to build a profile for the business and for myself. And
ah,
year
okay.
one was all about going out there, joining networks like the Business Chamber. So I joined the Cannock Business Chamber where we met. I joined Federation of Small Business. I joined an organisation called Best of War. So I just joined all these networking things to just get out there and
That's
get a feel.
networking for you.
Yeah, and just feel for it. It can become a full-time job though, Ben. You know
I,
that.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
But I just wanted to go and get a feel for business and try and find out, well, where's my audience? If I'm going to focus on lean and process improvement, then my audience probably are in the business chamber and they are on LinkedIn. If I'm going to go and run startups, well, they're probably not even on LinkedIn, or they might be on LinkedIn
Mm,
in it may be in their corporate role and they're looking at leaving corporate, or
yep.
they might not even be in LinkedIn. There might be an aesthetics business who's trying to set up and they might be on Insta. So
Yeah.
I spent the time trying to understand, getting clarity on what I was going to deliver as an organization and clarity on where those people were. And I guess, you know, that along with the YouTube channel that I set up at the time, and that along with the Google and the audit on the Google, just helped me really start to focus in on where are my people, and switching on Google Analytics behind the scene and starting to understand the demographic and where these people are coming from. Same with over in the YouTube world, switching on and understanding the analytics for that started to me to really understand where my audience is.
And that is the key thing with the Google Business Profile. It is the local area radius that you will cover. So whether you don't have a physical location, you're covering that service area, whether it's, that 2 hour radius that the Google Business Profile serves, or you do have a physical address, and again, wherever that postcode is, you're serving that 2 hour radius. So, yeah, I do recall that was
It's kind of
missing. And,
become it's kind of become
and
more important, Ben, because I'm now
well,
niching down in
absolutely.
this area.
Brilliant. Oh, well, well, I mean, it just shows you the importance of it even more so now, especially if you really are focusing on the local area. Um, did you see anything laid out clearly that sort of give you a better sense of what to do, or did it feel overwhelming at first? When we went
I,
after we went
I,
through the audit, was it just
I kind
highlighting
of
the various things that, oh, did you know that was there?
the best thing was you held my hand through the actual audit, so you got the report up and you walk through it step by step by step. And at the same time, I've got a screen here looking at where I do that, and it started to make it very very easy and simple to actually understand and make the change. And I think the value that you brought, the audit just highlights the gaps. The value that you brought is how best to fill that gap. What
Yeah,
is the best? What is the best? How can you get the best out of this profile? Yeah, and
for
and
your
like
business, for your
yeah,
specific business, that's the key thing.
yeah, and
You
I
know,
think the aha moment I had, because I was just starting to blog as well on my website. The aha moment that I had is that, well, I'm creating content for a blog. That same content is on my website, and people will find that who find my website. But I can also put that same content on my Google profile, and it's
yeah.
keeping it current. It's keeping it with good value add content for my audience, and it's driving growth in that profile. And suddenly I was overwhelmed, thinking I've got to do stuff to keep this live as well as keeping this live. And I had the aha moment. Well, it's the same stuff.
Absolutely, yeah. It's it really having putting stuff out on the Google Post update section, it makes your business and any other business that does it alive. And it's when you see the other businesses out there in the local community or wider field, and there is nothing, you know, um, recent. It's
Yeah,
suddenly you
it's
think,
just static.
is the business still alive? Is it still going? Pretty much most of the time it is, but the difference in from a user's perspective of, oh, they just posted something yesterday or last week. Oh yeah, that's exactly what I'm looking for, that service. You're thinking, it just gives it that little edge of an X factor over a fellow competitor when that potential customer is searching around in the local area for whatever service, whether it's a plumber, builder, whatever it is, it just gives it that
Yeah,
edge.
and I think if they see, your updates and then they tie that in with the reviews, and like the work I do takes a while for it to have an impact. So I try not to do the
Mm.
reviews until obviously the impact's been felt. So it takes a while to build up those reviews, and we're only talking a couple of years here since I got going. But I think once people see and follow the updates and see the reviews, they kind of link together and they can see the story of of, of the success.
Absolutely, Neil. So, as you've correctly pointed out, you went away and did the various changes yourself, without us doing anything for you. But where did you start? And how did you decide what to tackle first? I mean, was it maybe the Google Post update that we've just talked about, or was there something else?
Well, yeah, there was a few things. Clearly, the location and the service, which are
Oh
the
yeah,
real core parts
yeah,
to actually being found, were the first things I tackled.
yeah.
And then I just changed my process for doing the updates. And I've got a
Okay.
CRM that I use that does my social posting. And I hadn't connected that to my Google My Business profile. So that was a simple switch it on, authenticate. And then when I post,
Ah,
just tick, rather than send that to my blog, send it to my blog and to my Google post. So
oh,
it
that's,
was just a small change in process at the end of the day. Although sometimes I do write differently for the two, I repurpose and change
okay.
some of the, which, I think you've got to think about who your audience is and where they are. People who are watching the blog on the Vision to Venture website know me. Generally,
Ah,
people on Google don't. So sometimes
yes.
I write slightly differently for what I put out on the Google updates. So I think that was the first thing. Actually tying my booking systems into the Google profile, so there's somewhere a real call to action for someone to go click, I can get to him.
Yep.
And then I realised, because I very quickly grew a successful YouTube channel, I realised, well, I ought to put that on there and
Yeah.
connect all of this together. So then I realised, oh, hang on a minute, I need to now start building my profiles with my YouTube channel, my LinkedIn, the TikTok that I've got. So I started adding those profiles in, and it's probably due a bit of a refresh right now, and I've got it in my diary to do at the end of July. So it's probably due, particularly because I'm repositioning the business a little bit now. So you've
Yeah.
got to, I guess the other piece of advice to anyone listening is you've got to keep on top of it, haven't you? You don't just do
Absolutely,
it and
Neil.
let it stay there. You've got to feed
It,
it and
unfortunately, it's a small another business administration task, as part of everything else that, people have, as part of their work of running their own business. You mentioned quite a few things there, Neil. Was there anything that was actually felt more time consuming than expected, or was it all very simple
to
when you
be
once
on
you?
to be honest with you, the posting side of it, because I was already in a process of creating content
Yeah.
and just repurposing it with a slightly different language. Did it take more time? Yes, of course it did. Was it a big burden? No, not really. Not really a burden, because I'm already in that flow of creating content in different areas. It just happened. I spent a good day going through my profile and tweaking and changing and tweaking and changing and tweaking, and then opening up an incognito window and having a look at what it looks like. And
Yeah.
I spent a good
Has it
day.
updated?
Yeah, that's right.
It's a-
Spent a good day following your report and I took a lot of notes that the conversation that we had when we walked through the audit step by step and some of the advice you'd given me. I'll probably spend a whole day post that, just but getting the right pictures, the right images, talking about the services right, and then changing some of my internal processes, like adding in the automation of the Google review to people into my CRM, adding in the like I just said, the CRM connecting to the Google page, so that so that going forward it was just embedded in the work that I do, in the processes that I have within the business.
That sounds fantastic, Neil. It really does. I think that's a real. You mentioned it a couple of times. I think it's a real nugget tip a golden nugget that you've given today about just adding that as part of your additional process. Of repurposing some content. I think that's really valuable there.
And it's the
Go on.
same with the
Sorry.
reviews, it's great you have a review, but don't just leave it at the review. Feedback to the person who's give you the review, good, bad, or
Yeah.
ugly. Feedback, and like you're almost creating a conversation in another platform that it sees, and the algorithm likes that.
Yeah. Absolutely, Neil. Did having a clear set of recommendations actually change how confident you felt actually about going in and making those changes?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because it was, I think what you gave me is, yeah, I'm okay with tech, and I can go in and make the changes. But what changes? What's the content? What's going to make it
Mm.
work? So what you gave me was clarity first on what I should do, and then the confidence to, from the conversation we had, to just go in and do it myself. So it was the clarity and the confidence that you gave me, and I think that was probably the most important thing. It's easy to have a box that says edit profile and type some stuff in the boxes. Anybody can do that. But even getting you defining what local means to you in terms of your service, it took me a bit of
Yeah,
thinking about that. So I think you gave me the confidence through the conversation about the kinds of things that I should fill in the various boxes of editing the profile. And it's that confidence and clarity. The clarity was in the audit about the things I needed to change, and the confidence was in your deep knowledge of the kinds of things that I should put in the boxes of the profile.
that's great to hear, Neil. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Is there anything from the audit? Well, sorry to ask, but and I'm guessing that it might be a no on this one, but is there anything you actually haven't acted on from the audit? Anything that's held you back?
Uh, the answer is not no. The answer is probably yes. Probably one of the things that I haven't do is, as I've grown the business and started to change and move a bit,
Mm.
I've not come back and made sure that everything's right in the profile. For example, yesterday I was demonstrating to a lady who's coming through my startup course how important a Google profile is. And I said,
Wow.
and for example, look, here's how it links to my YouTube channel, and clicked on the link, and guess what? The link didn't work because
Oh no.
I'd changed I changed the handle of the
Oh
YouTube
no.
channel and renamed it, and the link had stopped working. So I guess there's some lessons learned there as well. In you do have to, if you do change something somewhere, make sure it's still all connected. And I didn't know, and nobody had told me.
No. Well,
Maybe nobody
it's
had discovered it. I don't know.
well, no. It's usually the case, Neil. Nobody tells you with a broken link. That's why any sort of link that does get redirected, you have a proper redirect process in place. But it's a bit difficult with the Google Business Profile if you put an old link in and then you've changed it because there's nothing there to change it. But that is certainly another good sort of piece of advice to everybody out there that's watching, to say that you know if you do change your handles or your social media or a important booking link, do go back to your profile and update it just as you've done everywhere else, because that is still where the majority of your audience is coming from. And I think using your example earlier, Neil, you're saying 40% from Google Maps, which is
Yeah.
outstanding.
Well, when the actual figures, I can give you the actual figures. 29% from Google Maps on the desktop.
Oh, wow, okay.
So that's maps from the desktop, the desktop, and 22% maps from mobile.
Wow.
Then I've got 26% is the search from mobile, and 22 is the search from the desktop. So you can see the actual maps is having quite a big impact, and that's the piece that without that location I would have been totally missing out on.
Absolutely, yeah. That really shows the importance of it. Um, if we roll forward, Neil, so from September 24 to let's say this year or where we are now, so and take a look at the actual impact that it's had on the business. I think mentioned a few things. What has actually changed since you made those updates? Because I sort of recall you had 5 Google reviews, if I remember correctly, back September
Yeah, so
24.
I'm up
Where are
to
you
sort
now?
of 25 Google reviews at the moment.
Fantastic, Neil. That's
Over the
brilliant.
time, and they're all really good reviews because I really hold high helping clients deliver outcome, not just deliver the service, but deliver the outcome, and that's reflected.
That's
And I
brilliant.
guess there's two other things that have definitely changed, and that's the amount of traffic that goes to my website now. I
Hmm.
get a daily report every day, and that's like gone up tenfold from what it was. And
Wow.
the other thing is, in a week from the booking page, I will get maybe 3 to 4 people booking with me in some form over that. That's real figures
It's huge.
of what. I'll wake
Yeah.
up in the morning and I may have someone gone into my door. That's the beauty of having an open door, isn't it? People
Yeah.
just can go in and bang in. And that's attributed not just to the Google, but it's attributed to other things that I'm doing, connecting it all together, making sure you've got
Yeah.
a cohesive message across not just your Google, but your socials, making sure your call to actions are all right, and you're taking people, you funnel them into, my whole thing is come and have a call with me, because once you sit and chat with me, I'm sure that I'll be able to help you. I can help you solve your problem and we can probably work together. And today I've got ways of working, free with me through contracts that I've won with the council, for example. No
Oh,
different to,
wow.
your audit action. I didn't see the value straight away in should I do it. We just met, we had a conversation. You convinced me we should do it. And when I get the report and we have the conversation, suddenly it's worth $1 million to me, and gee, but it's spreading the message like this, isn't it? People you don't know
Yeah.
till you don't, what you don't know, do you?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely, Neil. So, has anything shifted that you did not expect? Something you may not have immediately connected back to the Google Business Profile. I think you spoke about a few things that it has attributed to it, but anything?
The, and I don't know whether this is attributed directly to the Google profile being, but I get some amazing things happen, right? And I think it's people are watching, but you don't know they're watching, right? People
Okay.
discover you and they discover you in some way, and suddenly you open up a conversation and you realise that these people have been, you know, following you in some way. And I think some of that does come from the Google profile. It's got to, because that's the first place they probably go to find me. Some of it will come from my YouTube channel with how big that's now become. But suddenly I'll have a discovery call with somebody and they'll say, "Oh yeah, I found you. Blah, 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 blah. I was looking for this
Mm.
in Cannock and you popped up." Or and that so those conversations are directly attributable to Google, because the only way they'll find me in Cannock is through Google Maps. They'll find me through the business profile. And it's those things that, or even this week I've had 2 companies reach out to me who have uh, who have obviously seen my profile and found me then on YouTube and want to do some sponsorship on the channel. And these things are things I didn't expect to happen, and I can't directly attribute that to the Google profile, because
Mm.
what I do know is, because I've had the conversation with them, they saw me on YouTube and then went to my Google profile and validated me on Google. So they saw a
Yes.
YouTube video and go, "Oh,
Mm.
this guy's got 144,000 subscribers. It might be worth investing in our product, in sponsoring him, but let's go and see who he is." And so then they do the
Yep.
Google, find the Google, look at your profile, go to your website, and then it all connects.
I think it. just to resonate what you're saying, just to add to that, Neil, I think it is all about the excellent job of building your brand. So, when you've gone out and like when networking and when we first came across one another and you said, oh, I'm from Go True North, my business. And when you've continued doing that, everybody that is obviously then looking around, or who's this Neil Betts guy from Go True North, they're doing that search and it's the Google business profile that comes up first alongside, the links at the
Yeah.
side. But it's the confirmation, affirmation sort of piece that it's like, yes, he's got representation. Google recognizes him, even though we all know we're populating that information
I
on your
think it's
profile,
also
plus
it's
the
the authority
reviews.
Google takes, isn't
Yes.
it? I see you on YouTube,
Yeah.
and anybody can make a YouTube video and put it up. When they go search and find you on Google, sorry, that's me Google, my TikTok clock going. When they find you
Okay.
on Google, when they find you on Google and go and look at you, it's like it's got that authority because this is a business that's actually validated as a business. It's got a, it's a proper business. It's been properly validated.
Mm.
Oh, now let's go and have a look at his, go and have a look at his website, and then all of that connects, and you get that sort of people are given that sense of authority that it's real. It's not something that's just a business on a Facebook page. No disrespect to people who just run a Facebook page, but it's a bit
No.
more than that. They see this whole brand connected together.
It is the fundamental thing when it comes down to local SEO is about building that brand piece. I think, done an excellent job with that, Neil, so far. I think it's even going to go better. Uh,
Well,
so,
I've had a lot of help with that, Ben, on the way.
so, um, so obviously, from everything you've done using the Google Business profile now, how does it feel to you as a tool for your business compared to before the audit?
Oh, it's like whenever I go, righto, it's time to put some content out there, it's always number one on the list.
Top of
Right, so
mind. Yeah,
yeah, it's always
yeah,
top of mind to feed that first. Yeah, I
brilliant.
want to because I don't feed all my channels with all the same stuff. When I'm writing on LinkedIn, generally I'm talking about certain things. When I'm going on Insta or TikTok, it's different things. But I'm always being consistent on my Google profile because that's all about updates on the business and giving value. I talked at a conference a few months ago about my YouTube channel, and I talked about the AAA. My
Oh
YouTube
yeah.
channel, I'm giving game away here. My YouTube channel is actually it's supercharged on an AA battery, on a AAA battery, and
All
the the
right.
the three A's that I talked about were the first A was about making sure I create value for my audience. So I always
Okay.
try and do that, even in the Google posts that I put out there when I'm updating. I'm not just saying, "Oh, what a great day I've had here." I actually try and add value into that content. So I need to add
Mm.
value. That's the first A. The second A is I need to be clear on who my audience is. So when I'm adding that value, I've got to be talking to the right audience. And the third A is about action, about actually putting the posts out there. And I'll talk about that in the contents of my YouTube. So I make sure I'm always creating videos that are adding value. I'm always talking to my audience, making sure everything's for them, not for me. It's all about the audience and giving them that value. And then the action is actually regularly posting content on YouTube, and that's the same on Google. I use the same triple A philosophy. Those
Ah.
those updates have to have value. You know, Great networking event. Caught up with this person who's brilliant on Google My Business. Check him out. Check out Ben. That's going to add
Okay.
value to somebody in my network because
Yeah.
I'm helping startups. What do startups need? They need people to come to them. How they're going to find them? They've got to know the problem they're trying to solve and who they're trying to solve it for and where they are. And once they know all of that, they can set up a Google profile and hey presto, they should start getting people coming into their world. That leaning in, which is what marketing's all about.
Fantastic, Neil. Brilliant answer. So, and I've just got a last question here, Neil. So, if you're actually speaking directly to another business owner who actually has a Google business profile, but they've never actually touched it, what would you tell them?
For God's sake, talk to Ben.
Oh, okay.
Now,
Wasn't
honestly,
expecting that, Neil.
no, honestly, I would, I,
Hmm.
I would advocate the work that you do to
Hmm.
any business because you can go and have a look at it, and you can go, "Oh, I can tweet this and I can tweet that," but it's back to the how do you know what good looks like?
Yeah.
You are the expert in this. You know what works and what doesn't, and you offer a service to do that audit. So why would I go anywhere else? For me to do it, it's going to take me a lot of my time that I could be using on clients, and I don't have the full skill set of understanding what good looks like, whereas you do.
Yeah.
So, I would always say to them, I know this amazing young man.
I don't know
I'm
about that
quite
anymore, Neil,
sure.
but
Well, I'm still
well, I'll
using
take
it,
it today.
Ben. I, remember, I'm a 58-year-old and I'm an influencer.
Thank you. That's brilliant, Neil. So, thanks ever so much for that, Neil. Is there anything else you want to sort of say? I think you've covered so much there, really, in terms of your experience of the Google Business Profile audit.
No, I think more generally, and you've touched on it, is having a clear sense of who you are and that whole brand piece. If people who are
Mm,
watching this and look at you, they'll see the orange chair, the orange little plant pot holder, the orange fascia. If they see you out networking, you've got your orange in the pocket. There's a whole brand that is consistent about you and the way you are, and that
mm.
brand. People always tie brand equals logo, and it's not that. Brand's way deeper than
It,
that. It's tone of
it,
voice, the way you present yourself, the
yeah,
story behind you, and the why. And I think unless you've got some of those fundamentals thought through, don't go
it's
set your
all.
profile up. Just do that bit
Yeah,
of groundwork. In my startup course, I've already mentioned it. I talk about what's the problem you're trying to solve, who you're trying to solve it for, what's unique about you, and what's your solution. Because when you've got all that down, you can write a good profile on Google that
yeah,
attracts the right people. Because I think the only other important thing is you don't want to attract the wrong people.
true.
I don't want 20 people a week coming into my calendar who are not the right fit for me and my business, who I don't
Yeah,
want to work with, because now I've got to spend 20 times 30 minutes with those people, discounting them and making them realize they're not a good fit. So my profile needs to talk to my audience, and it needs to discount the people I'm not working with in some way.
yeah.
And I think that's the same with websites. You know that you do a lot of
Mm,
website design for people, and the core
mm,
the core message there is talking about the problem and discount the people
mm,
who don't have that problem. So you're actually,
mm.
attracting the right people to your business.
Yeah. I just thought, just before we go, Neil, we'll just actually have a look at your Google Business Profile, since we haven't
Okay,
showed it yet. So let's have a
this
little
is the
look and just
audit
share
of
it with
the
everyone.
audit.
So let's just have a look, and I'm just going to zoom in, just so we give everybody a little bit more uh, better presentation. So obviously, we just as everybody knows, if they're not familiar, we're looking down this right-hand side. And yeah, you've got a great representation, you've got your photos, you've got your service area, great set of reviews and all replied, as you carefully noted earlier, Neil. It's so important to do so. And the great thing is you've actually got your services offered as well. I really love that,
Yep,
Neil. And there's plenty more there as well. People can check out afterwards. And yeah, and I think as we touched on it quite a bit, is this Google Business Profile section. And by the way, congratulations, Neil, about this award. Fantastic
oh, thank
news.
you.
Well done on that. Um, and if you just keep that regularly updated, it just keeps that. This is the business that's not just alive but thriving, and it's actually going places. It's going forward.
Well, even the
Um,
way
you know,
Google presents those, you can see it's like a little mini social media feed, isn't it?
it's a
You
lovely
know,
carousel, and you
and
can
it
now add photos and video, Neil. I
and
don't know if
video,
you're
yeah.
aware. Yeah. So
Yeah, so it's like, to me, that was one of those big realizations. Treat this as like a social media channel, but just making sure you're getting the right message to the right audience through this mechanism. And I didn't realize it was that, and that's what keeps you current.
yeah.
People go to this and they don't see a post from like 5 years ago. They're seeing one from 6 days ago there.
Yeah, and so yeah, just to double back again and resonate what we were saying earlier. Somebody searches "Go True North," bang, yeah, and it's got a fresh now 6 days. announcement of a new award. I mean, what more could you want when somebody searches for you as a cold, lead or potential client to then think, oh yeah, I definitely want to make contact with Go True North, Mr. Neil Betts, because wow, he's he's just won an award and I've been recommended him as well. So, it's definitely something to do. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, and it's the same with the map search, isn't it? All come up that it'll present the same way.
Yeah.
That's good.
Well,
Still
Neil, this is
present.
absolutely fantastic. Thanks ever so much for sharing this.
Oh, it's been a pleasure, Ben. Been an absolute pleasure.
Fantastic. Well, thanks very much, everybody, joining us today. And we've got another live stream next week with Tony McBride. So if you want to join us for that one, please do so. But again, thanks ever so much, Neil. Really appreciate joining us.
You're welcome, Ben.
It's been a real valuable talk and listen for a lot of valuable information for everybody out there. So I'll see you soon, Neil. And goodbye, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us. Bye bye.
Take care, Ben. See ya.
Bye, Neil. Bye.
See ya.